This is the recording compromise between me and Tukey. This is what he does. There's no reasoning with him. He's decided that this is where he's going to hang out. So he's going to hang out on camera with us. I'm going to keep kind of plodding along so we can actually learn about this class. For this module, eventually it's going to let me advance to the next slide. There we go. What I'm going to try and do with each module is start with an objectives, which is kind of a preview of the entire content that's going to be covered. I would encourage you to kind of link the learning goals that I provide at the beginning of each module to these kind of broad objectives as a way to kind of help organize all that information. Those learning goals are going to be really helpful for you for organizing how you study for this class. I literally go through the list of learning goals, cluster them by chapter, and that becomes the study guide, which I then use to make the test. More on that later. So here are broad objectives. To understand what personality psychology is all about. We're going to learn the basic definitions of personality, more so than the BuzzFeed kind of examples that you already just watched. We'll consider kind of the relevance of personality to studying behavior, and more broadly, we'll cover an overview of basic approaches and paradigms. That'll be actually in the next video, and we'll kind of consider personality science in action and kind of give you some glimpses of that. So the three things personality psychologists study. I kind of think about this as the psychological triad. It's the combination of how people think, feel, and behave. So we're especially interested in when these elements conflict with each other. And that conflict suggests that the mind is complex, and as someone who has a mind, as all of you do, you know that it's not as just simple as them all working simpatico. The mind is complex, and it's even difficult to understand, like your own. Now, there's a lot of overlap between personality psychology and clinical psychology. There is also overlap with quantitative, which is my background and training, but we'll get there, I promise. We've got a whole section on research methods, so you'll learn all about how quantitative and personality play together. Personality psychology studies kind of the normal, typical patterns of how people behave and think and feel, versus clinical psychology, which studies the extremes, as well as unusual patterns that cause problems. So if you were to envision a bell curve, personality psychology studies everything except the tails. But sometimes we study the tails too, because we can. That's kind of one way to think about it. They both cover personality disorders, as well as they both try to understand the whole person, but the general fundamental difference, besides that clinical psychologists can practice and take patients, they both try and understand the whole person. And that's kind of the heart of what personality psychology is all about. It brings all these other areas to psychology coming together, especially social, cognitive, developmental, clinical, and biological. Its goal is to create a cohesive thing to do that.